A new fantasy has been laid on us, what I call the New Age fantasy. The New Age fantasy of multiculturalism, a warmed-over assimilationist ideology. An idea that's developed from what we call cultural pluralism, as defined by Christine Bennett in her book, Comprehensive Multicultural Education. Cultural pluralism is characterized by mutual appreciation and respect between two or more ethnic groups. And when we talk about the multicultural curriculum, she defines that curriculum as the curriculum develops knowledge and understandings about cultural differences and the history and the contributions of contemporary ethnic groups and nations, as well as various civilizations in the past. How does that feed you? How does that employ you? How does that protect your very lives and biological interests? This kind of knowledge, this kind of respect for other groups. It strives to integrate multi-ethnic and global perspectives into the traditional curriculum that is primarily mono-ethnic and in the United States, Anglo-European. Another trip. We're going to dance other people's dances and sing other people's songs. And we're going to respect them and get them to respect us. That sounds very much like the assimilationists to me. And where does that get us? I go to many colleges and universities and I see black students and black people pushing multiculturalism. And I ask them, why is it that black people are pushing this? We're the most multicultural people around. We've always respected other people's culture. Any other group of people could come and go into business in our community. Any other group of people can come and live among us as a people. We have worked beside every ethnic group on this globe. We have not lynched other ethnic groups. We've not boycotted other ethnic groups. We've even tried to claim their identity. There are many of us who felt proud when somebody said, oh, I thought you were an Indian, or I thought you were a Mexican, or I thought anything but black. Black people have not rejected other people's culture. They have not made other people suffer. We eat every kind of cultural food there is on this earth. We wear every kind of cultural dress on this earth. We support every kind of cultural group on this earth. The only cultural group African people have rejected is African culture itself. And now, before you can find out who you are and what you are, before you can read your own history, come into your own self-knowledge, someone is laying a curriculum on you, telling you you should learn more about other people. And yet you must be aware that if you suffer from a lack of self-knowledge, a lack of self-acceptance, a lack of self-love, a lack of self-confidence, a lack of identity, I don't care how much you know about other people, I don't care how much you sing their songs and dance their dances, I don't care how much you eat their food, you still will not be right in the world, and you will still be oppressed by every other ethnic group this earth has on it today. You have to recognize that. But yet we got somebody caught up in multiculturalism. The question I ask, where is it? Where is this multiculturalism you're talking about here? Where is it? Ethnic conflict. Every evening, it serves and croaks and this and that one. Where is this racial harmony that we're talking about? Huh? Or is it another game to be run on black folks' minds? Is it another fantasy that we'll trip on for the next 30 years while people exploit us and use us? This is another fantasy that will have us wake up one day and have all of the other ethnic groups in this country look at us as the enemy and ultimately did decide to destroy us as a people. While we were caught up in our assimilationist fantasies, we've seen every other ethnic group come now to achieve the identity as a minority in America. And those programs that we struggled so hard for and fought so hard for to advance our interests as a people, now we got to share with every other group that decides to give itself a name. All of a sudden, white women became minorities. You see. All of a sudden, immigrants became minorities. Yes, I'm going to say it. Some of you don't want to deal with it.
What is good, my people? We are live back again with another live broadcast on the forecast. I appreciate y'all for coming through. Shouts out to Blanca. Shouts out to my brother Anthony in the building. I'll put the link in there for you. Today, we're not gonna be on here long. But I did want to come on here to finish kind of what we was talking about yesterday, because I'm probably gonna move on and not talk about it anymore. And to be honest with you, I haven't never talked about George Jackson on this channel before. And this is a brother that I think people should know about. You know, this is a brother in history that was a real one. So I had to come on here and at least do it before I moved on. And my brother Anthony in the building. Yo, what's going on, my brother?
Hey, what's up, forecast? What's going on, brother?
Not much. How you doing today, my brother?
I'm chilling, man. I came out here and sat on the porch for a minute. I'm gonna stay out there. Hey, now, stay out here as long as I can. These mosquitoes is bad down there.
Yeah.
Yeah, just got some rain. Yeah, we just had some rain too.
Yeah, I bet it is.
Yeah, what's going on, man?
Not much. And we ain't gonna be on here all super long today. But I do want to talk about the brother George Jackson, because like I said, I never talked about him on this channel before. And this is a brother that people should know about, because he was a real one. But like I said, it do get complicated. So I don't even have any particular joint. We just gonna watch some, learn about him together, and then we'll comment. You can jump in whenever you want, right? But yeah, but also, you know how I do, yo. I go too far sometimes. I had to show y'all at least one thing that I was talking about yesterday too. And like I said, this ain't gonna be long. I just wanted to play this because it just goes with what's going on, Koku, in the building. It just goes to what we were saying yesterday. Yeah. Now this was funny, right? Check this out, right? Listen to what Trump said. It's because speaking of,
I have an idea for you to make a lot of money. You're going to go and start a new migrant fight league. Migrants, only migrants. And then at the end of the year, the champion migrant is going to fight your champion. And I hate to tell you, Dana, I think the migrant might win. That's how tough they are. This is not a normal situation.
So they're gonna have a migrant. I'm not opposed to the idea, as far as like the migrant fight club, you have yours, I have mine, and we'll let them fight it out. You seen that, my brother?
Yeah, I seen it. I got a hell of laughing at Trump crazy, man. But yeah, I'm with you. I agree. I don't object to that.
I don't object. It was pretty funny though. The fool said, "Yeah, we should do that." I give you that one. That was pretty funny. Um, it was, and then and speaking of them, because I had to play this one too, right? Because I seen it here, right? So they was like, the president didn't stop them from coming back. President will not accept any more elite immigrants back into his country. And I was just
Potential setback for American officials at our southern border. Venezuela has stopped accepting deportation flights from the U.S. and Mexico after a deal between the nations fell apart. Those flights had been seen as a successful way to try to stem the flow of migrants from Venezuela. Correspondent Ali Bradley is live along the Arizona border.
So while some black people talking about some immigrant, they don't even want them back in their own place.
With some details, Ali.
Yeah, hey, Nicole. So that border battle once again heating up here. We just got our hands on some new migrant encounter numbers from our CBP sources that includes Venezuelan migrants as well. We've already seen just a fraction.
That's not really important, but yeah, you see that, bro? They don't even want them. They were like, no, don't send them back here.
Hey, Fort Mill. That kind of remind me of like back in the 80s, like in the early 80s. It could have been like the late 70s, early 80s. It was when Reagan was president, and they had this thing down in Florida, because in Florida they had a lot of Cuban people down in Florida, and and like the white Cubans, the ones who had lived out of there when Fidel Castro came into power. They was the ones who was like the wealthy people, the landowners and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
The former slave masters. Anyway, so when Castro came in, with the whole communism thing, so they left, and so they struck up relationships with the United States government, because the United States government always wanted to overthrow Castro, so they can go back down there with all of that old yakety yank stuff they had before. But anyway, it was in I think it was 79, 80. They had this thing called the Mariel boat lift. You ever heard of that?
No.
It was the Mariel boat lift. Okay. The United States, who was like, they was offering asylum to Cuban refugees. Because like it was it was something trying to undermine Castro regime. They say, we'll offer asylum to them, and they thought they was gonna be getting like the white Cubans or the Cubans from the wealthy class. But what happened?
Was that when that little what's his name, Elion something?
Oh no, this was before then.
Okay.
But see, it was like look at it was like, so Castro got slick, and what Castro did, instead of letting the white Cubans, the people, the people from the wealthy class, the elite class, from letting them go, what he did was he opened up all of the jailhouse and the penitentiaries in Cuba, and he let all the convicts out. And they sent like about 200,000, about 250,000 Cubans, and most of them was like convicts. You know what I'm saying? From out of the prisons in Cuba, and they let them come to the United States. You know what I'm saying? They let them come, because I can remember some of them back here in Louisiana, because they when the government here, when they realize, oh man, he let all the goddamn convicts out. Right. They were shipping them all over prisons all over the country. They had some down here in Louisiana, and they were starting riots down here and shit. I remember they had a riot in a prison called Marksville down here. I mean, they were starting riots. Yeah. So that's what that remind me of when you said they don't even want them to come back there. Castro, that's what Castro did. He emptied his jailhouse and his prisons, all the motherfuckers he didn't want. What I'm saying? Right. Yeah, that's what made me think about when you said that.
Yeah. I mean, that's a fact. It's all a thing, but man, I don't know if we understand that. And shouts out to Raw in the building, as much as we do caping for everybody else. Now, I guess because I seen the whole thing on here. I was like, what the hell? I don't know why I sent it to me, but they was talking about this. I guess because it's like sending me mad stuff. But then I was like tripping because it said this. I know y'all don't care about it.
As per usual.
But Clarence Thomas, all right. Now I guess I shouldn't, but I'm like, because it pissed me off, like with something like that.
Something else that is terrifying me, as per usual, is Clarence Thomas. This man is on the Supreme Court. We had a decision recently from the Supreme Court where a person that had a protective order issued against him because he had committed domestic violence and they had taken his guns away. So he sued, and it goes up to the Supreme Court. And 8 of the justices said it's appropriate to take away the guns of someone who's committed domestic violence. Not this guy. This guy who likes private jets and RVs and white supremacists to pay for everything he does. He's like, no, I don't think that's a problem.
I'm like, bitch, you are. First of all, you know, look, I agree with y'all about Clarence Thomas, you know, and y'all probably disagree with me, but I would never side with no damn white bitches and all of that stuff. Like, that fool, and he done married a white bitch, so he got what he got coming. But, like, how dare this bitch? Who she thinks she is? You know what I'm saying? Like,
they shouldn't have their constitutional rights taken away. Somebody who is a domestic abuser. Like, this guy is so off the chain. And I just want to remind everybody, you know, he was in the majority of the Dobbs decision, which overturned Roe versus Wade. Mixed race couples. I mean, this guy is married to a white woman. This analogy, we can go into gay marriage, interracial marriage. This man is married to a white woman and wants to go into mixed race couples. I mean, this guy is so out of touch.
He's like, yo, I got my white bitch. Ain't nobody else, and none of y'all can have no white girls for the rest of y'all.
He's so entitled. I am outraged by him too. I mean, he and Trump are the perfect bedfellows. The people are.
You know, the biggest lesson about Clarence Thomas is this. There was a woman who tried to warn everybody about this man, Anita Hill.
I remember.
And you had a bunch of white men aggressively question her and demean her, and nobody listened. And then the same thing happens with Brett Kavanaugh. You have a woman that comes out that says, there is something here that I think the world needs to know before this person is on the Supreme Court. Each time the women are ignored and the patriarchy survives.
See, I had to, and I'm sorry, I didn't even mean to subject y'all to this, you know, but that's what pissed me off. When you see how duplicitous, like, these bitches is the most dangerous ones out of anybody. They're talking about somebody else is dangerous. Did you see how they try to make themselves like, oh, we are the oppressor class, but like, it's a way that they're doing it to be like, oh, well, black men and this patriarch and male, and how a black woman who he did whatever to, you know, and how these white dudes let him off because God knows what he was doing for to let him get off, you know. But like, you see how she just tried to use that to be like, oh, well, you know, it's really this woman thing and this patriarch. When these bitches is probably the most powerful. They're the largest voter block, number one, you know what I'm saying? But like, even the role that they try to play, they try to act like they wasn't benefiting the most off of that. Now, I know everybody gonna be like, oh, yeah, it's Clarence Thomas. I agree. No, like, that's what pisses me off about a lot of times, because like, these bitches is the most dangerous species in the universe, and they got the nerve to say something about somebody else. My bad, my brother. You want to say something about that?
Yeah, it's called white woman's tears. You know what I'm saying? They use their white woman's tears. Remember, all the way on back to the days when they was lynching brothers left and right behind them bitches. You know what I'm saying? Oh, he raped me, or he tried to rape me, he attacked me. You know what I'm saying? They could cry and get a nigga killed. You know what I'm saying? Well, I'm just, I'm using that like, so they could cry and get you killed. Well, you just bring it on. Yeah, you bring it on up to the day what they doing that. It's the same old game. You know, you could cry, make Clarence Thomas, this old Uncle Tom Coon, make him the face of patriarchy. You know what I'm saying? Make him the face of the patriarchy, of what they call patriarchy. Make him the face of it. You know what I'm saying? And cry about him and Clarence Thomas, and all of this old mess with what she was just saying. It's the same old thing, man. The crying and white woman's tears. Crying her tears. You know what I'm saying? They use the same thing with that feminism, with that feminism. Okay, let's go get a black woman, Anita Hill. Make her the face of standing up against this black man's patriarchy. You know what I'm saying? It's just white woman tears. I mean, the white woman ain't nothing but the female wing of the white power structure. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's all it is. She's
Yeah.
she's the female wing of it. Remember, and we got to realize, her battle is not a battle against against white domination. It's just a battle for her getting more equity with her man. You know what I'm saying? That's all. She just want to be a little bit more equal with her man. You know what I'm saying? And at the same time, you got to remember, no, who raising white children? Who raising white boys and teaching them this stuff? You know what I'm saying? Teaching them this white domination thing. The white-nality. Is the white woman. That's because the mother is the first teacher. You know what I'm saying? So like you said, they is the most dangerous motherfucker. Rotten bitch. She is the most dangerous motherfucker. But that's all. That's all I wanted to say though, man. It's just her using her white tears and her white ability, to do what she want to do.
Right. Yeah. It said Sublime Prince, they'll make him the face of corruption. Matron said white women go to bed with white men every night and they hate their men. Yeah, they're haters. Shouts out to Matron, by the way. And that was a great live earlier. Y'all subscribe to Matron.
Great.
Yeah, shouts out Sublime Prince. And Blanca said, I will never defend Clarence Thomas, and I really don't care about some white hoes dragging them. They're not using their tears on him the right way. Yo, and I get that. That's why I know a lot of people disagree. But like one thing that really, it's like the white liberal thing, like, because black people, we would let these like get away with it. I'm like, yo, who does she think she is? Like, he got whatever he got coming to him. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. But like, at the point is, like, they, like, when whatever the crime is, they pay for that crime. But in this particular case, I'm like, do you see how she's trying to use, like, even just the use of patriarchy and sliding it in and be like, put like, and then because understand for them, it still represents black men, even though we know he doesn't think he is a black man, But what they're doing is putting themselves like, oh yeah, well, us and black women and all of these things, when they are the ones who benefit probably the most out of anybody, And I have a problem with what they're doing, huh?
I'm glad you cleared it up. You said it because, like, I just want to say that in answer to Bianca, we don't give a damn about that coon either. We don't give a damn about Clarence Thomas. It ain't about him. You know what I'm saying? It's about her using him as the face of black people. Because see, when white people look at it, they don't care whether you Clarence Thomas or you Anthony McPhail. You know what I'm saying? Today a Negro is a Negro to them. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you know what I'm saying? That's all. We don't care about him. I could give a damn what happened to Clarence Thomas. He could die tomorrow. I mean, I'd probably be happy as hell. What I'm saying, but like you said, Forecast, you cleared it up. It ain't about him, it's about us, the bigger picture.
Right. Because, like, and that's the thing, like, even on TV back in the day with the propaganda they used to use, it was black, like, we probably wouldn't condone the actions of certain black men but they would make them the face of black men and promote that all on TV and push this feminist agenda, feminist kind of mindset. And that's exactly what they're doing, and they have they're making a lot of money off YouTube and all of that stuff. But it's that whole propaganda of what they're doing, and it's just like so sneaky that people just let it go because we like, oh yeah, we don't care about him, which is true. I get why people say that, but at the same time, I'm like, listen, like, this is a part of what makes them probably one of the most dangerous, but I wanted to play one more thing and then we're gonna get to, and then we probably ain't gonna finish the George Jackson John, but we're gonna get as far as we can, But I had to play this one, and this is the last thing from yesterday, y'all. I promise, But this brother was breaking it down because this was another thing, like, well, everybody, what is black job? You tell me what is black job? Like, when really we was just looking at, like from Venezuela, right? I like even in the job I had, right? They was replacing a lot of black people. To me, they all like Spanish. I'm like, oh, you from Mexico? Like, no, you from Venezuela. Black people be correcting me. Well, you got to have respect from where you're from, right? And people are not like being ignorant, like to like where I'm in Virginia, and I see how a lot of other groups are getting these jobs, right? Because when you think about it, we already know when you look at a lot of quote unquote jobs, you know, that's what y'all know, that y'all don't want to talk about the slavery part of it, but that's a whole nother conversation. But when you look at jobs, right, we look at the management, like you barely gonna see black people there. You're gonna see black people in the warehouses and doing most of the regular work. And that's what most of us out here is at this point. You know what I'm saying? Because most people is just like, oh, I gotta keep the lights on and all of that. And I gotta eat tonight, you know. And when you start getting people who would do the same thing for like less money or whatever, because they may not be registered, like I see that change going on in many of the jobs like that I used to have, or when I visit other places, like doing what I do now. Like a lot of the places where you had the black workers, you don't see them anymore. You know what I'm saying? So when people be like, what is black jobs? That's kind of annoying to me, you know?
Bit about the debate
The movie last night was Blood. I'll get it for you. I'll tell you in a minute.
Between former President Trump and current President Joe Biden, and just a comment that Trump made about immigrants coming over and taking black jobs. Apparently, while that's not a sophisticated understanding of what's going on, we can't pretend that that's a stupid claim or that there's no such thing as black jobs. And yet, would you believe no small number of Twitter famous black people are going around, and people in the media are going around saying that there's no such thing as black jobs. And that is just a bunch of ignorance. That's almost more dangerous, a quality of ignorance that's almost more dangerous than the quality of xenophobia espoused by Trump's Republican Party. And because there is such a thing as black jobs, and until we understand why there is such a thing as black jobs, until we take occupational segregation seriously and understand that jobs are generational, and the legacy of occupational segregation, we will continue to screw up the debate while we show.
All right, let me get
this. This is from Ira Katz Nelson's When Affirmative Action Was White. The most important.
All right, we know about all this stuff. We don't got to go through all that.
Right. And since that legislation, number of black people by design in order to get Southern better working conditions. So black people will do those jobs, and those jobs are important, but will actually expect to be treated like Americans who are expected to stay in Americans. Other people will come here, do those jobs, and then send money home and build a whole middle class in some other country with bigger wages that they earned here without organizing to get better wages and working conditions. Right? So you can have a very sophisticated and interesting and appropriate conversation about this, or you can pretend that there's no such thing as black jobs. And then here's the New York Times from 2018. Op-ed: liberals say immigration enforcement is racist, but the group most likely to benefit from it is black men. So the cost of not being honest about what black jobs mean and the effect of immigration on those black jobs is disproportionately borne by black men. So when you say there's no such thing as black jobs, you're saying, I don't care if black men work. I don't care if black men work at good wages and working conditions. You've decided that we are to be sacrificed. Because there are black jobs, black men work them. There's also such a thing as black wealth. And you know what black wealth look like? It looks like having one partner be a nurse and another partner be some sort of law enforcement officer, and them not getting divorced. That's what your black millionaire looks like. That's not necessarily what white millionaires look like, but that's what black millionaires look like. That's what black money looks like, because those are two black jobs that have been stably black for long enough that you can get and keep, and the quasi-government jobs you can get and keep long enough to actually grow if you don't get divorced and don't screw up your family, because that's very expensive, right? Those are black jobs, right? Black millionaires are not professors. Black millionaires are not construction general contractors.
All right, so and Matron says black jobs is synonymous with unskilled cheap labor, which is a fact, you know, that's very true, you know. but that's the issue. Like a lot of black people are in a lot of those, but not saying that we are whatever, but we know the system that's been like set up in that place, so you got a lot of black dudes who like have like jobs like trucking or whatever, but also like a lot of the jobs in construction or maybe warehouses and stuff like that, which used to employ a lot of brothers, like I was working in warehousing and stuff like that, and I see how that a lot of like, because what black people have done is like, yo, well, you can't just pay me anything. I'm not just gonna work all kind of hours and not do whatever. No, I ain't no damn slave. That's what we would say. But other groups will be more willing to not have human rights, be treated like basic human beings. Not that we should go back, but even when it came to like it's just them taking employment. It's just black, like you used to say, the employment rate, and that's just what I have been seeing. But that, not to defend or whatever, but somebody said, black people, the problem is black people, we are so ashamed, and that shame keeps us delusional about realities, because we are ashamed to be like, oh well, we are in a situation where like another group is doing, I ain't no slave, or I ain't know this, I ain't know that, or what is the black job and all of that. But like a lot of us are in positions where we are working a lot of that, not that we should be, but that's just the system. Like they will have, like in basketball, they hire JJ Redick or whatever, and the problem is, I only know that because Negroes talk about it all damn day, or that Bronny James or whatever, and that's probably the problem, But you want to say something, my brother?
Oh no, I agree with you 100%, man. Yep, I agree with you.
All right, yeah.
Yep.
Definitely, but the I guess the key is to not do that. But all right, let me all right, so we're gonna go through. Damn. All right, yeah, we're gonna go through, I guess, some of like George Jackson stuff, and we're gonna play as much as we can until we get off of here. And you could jump in anytime you want. And if somebody want to come in and add to the conversation, you definitely can. The link are already in there. Or if you disagree with what I'm saying, or if you think that I missed something, or whatever, if you just want to come on here, I'll put the link in there one more time. Shit. Damn, hold on, I can't do it right now. All right, hold on, my bad. I'm gonna put the link in there, and then we're gonna start playing it, and then you can jump in anytime you want. Damn.
1970s.
Yeah, you can hear it. Yeah, you can hear that, John Anthony.
I saw firsthand the
Yeah, I hear it.
All right.
Fierce and prolonged struggle which engulfed America and the Bay Area. I covered the free speech movement in Berkeley, the emergence of the Black Panther Party, the anger, protest, and riots of the anti-war movement. Those were dangerous and fearful times. One of the most brutal moments occurred at San Quentin Prison in August of 1971, when inmate revolutionary George Jackson obtained a gun behind prison walls. The consequences were deadly. To this day, it remains a story filled with mystery and suspicion. Because tonight's special contains graphic pictures and descriptions of violent events, viewer discretion is advised. Now, Cron 4 presents
Forgiveness from Others. In spite of all, I am human and have done things that require forgiveness from others. I have transgressed against my fellows in moments of weakness and madness. I hope I can make it. George Jackson.
Jackson obtained a gun, and in less than 30 minutes, a murderous rampage turned the adjustment center into a slaughterhouse. 6 men, including Jackson, were killed.
It was unprecedented. It had never, ever happened before. It's never happened again.
During his prison life, George Jackson was a polarizing figure, hated as much as he was loved.
He was a threat in the prison system. He was one that just didn't seem to be very afraid.
He was defiant, he was proud, he was a revolutionary.
George Jackson was a thug. My guess is that he stole lunch money from his grade school associates.
He educated himself and emerged as the most powerful intellectual within the prison system.
Our sons to their desires.
America's soul and its people were coming apart.
That this is revolution.
And one of the reasons why I think that this time is important is because it went from that, because it's somewhere right here in this time period, like 71, I guess, where people went from like fighting, maybe not 71, maybe it could have been later, but right here is the time where we went from what we are today, from fighting and having like Black unity and all of that stuff, to where we are today. So it was something that happened like right here in this area,
We will not be fooled.
Frustrated and very angry.
The unpopular war in Vietnam had
control inmates. Black is just a continuation of the same thing we've been going through on the street.
George Jackson was born in Chicago in 1941, one of 5 children in a poor working-class family. His mother, Georgia, was afraid of what the streets could do to him.
She wouldn't let him go out and play. She kept him up on the roof. She wouldn't let him go out because she didn't want him to get in trouble.
I used to tell them that they were Black, and in order to achieve, they'd have to be twice as good as white. I said, if you're twice as good as a white in school, then maybe you'll make something. Yes, that's what I used to tell them. It was the truth. So why hide it from them?
As a young boy at Catholic school.
Hey, what do you think when people say you got to work twice as hard as whites to succeed? What do you think when people say that?
Hey, I mean, I think it means that, you're born with the deck stacked against you. You know what I'm saying? When you're Black in America, you're born with the deck stacked against you. I mean, you got to do, for example, I remember I was on a job, man, that I worked on a job. I had been on that job for about 5.5, 6 years, man. And so I had a lot of experience, man. And about a white boy who was a friend of the supervisor of the guy who hired me. Well, he had one of his friends who was a country boy. I think the job he had was he was like a park ranger. He didn't know nothing about this kind of work, man. We was working in a foundry. I was pouring metal, man. I was a machine operator. We worked in aluminum. Okay, they made this dude the supervisor. He made him the supervisor over me and the guys who had been there for, like I said, I was there for 5 years. We had another brother who had already been there for probably about 11 years, with plenty of experience and who should have got the job. You know what I'm saying? And with everything that he knew, this white boy who didn't know a damn thing, who used to have to come and ask me, hey man, what I do right here? What I do right here? You know what I'm saying? So that's the perfect example of this fool don't know nothing. I know all that I know, but they still gave the job to him. So, when you Black in America, especially, even now today, but especially at that time and before, you can have all of the experience, all of the credentials or whatever. But I mean, but it was still, many times it still wasn't enough. You know what I'm saying? It had to be, had to be totally overwhelmingly more qualified, and they had to be overwhelmingly unqualified for you to get the job or for you to get the position. So that's what it means to me, man.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's all facts, I agree with that. And Matron says it makes me angry because white mediocrity is valued above black excellence, and that's a fact. And I heard people say, "Oh, I hate when people say that." Before, that's why I asked. I just, people like what Matron was saying, but but it's a true statement. Don't get me wrong, because you do, but.
Jackson experienced racism. The playground was for white kids only. Growing up in the projects, he became involved in petty crime, fighting, stealing.
At age 15, his parents moved to LA and they set.
All right, so they talk about his crime, right? Now he was in jail for petty burglary, you know what I'm saying? But this is like what my brother Anthony was talking about yesterday, as far as that whole thing, how, he was in the projects, how, we should understand how that works, but I don't think we do all the way. But so he was in jail for petty burglary, and they gave him anywhere from a year in prison to life in prison for petty burglary. And most people only do a year, but he was in prison for 10 years for that. And by the way, just say something and I'll stop it anytime you want to jump in, my brother.
There were murders. The guards were the enemy, the number one enemy, because they were killing both of us. And George was trying to explain this to a lot of guys. They couldn't get it to their heads.
Alan Mancino has spent much of his life behind bars, beginning as a teenager in the California Youth Authority. Like George Jackson, Mancino was from Los Angeles.
Tough, sometimes brutal prison gangster. And this prisonized toughness made him the best proselytizer for revolution on the yard.
At Soledad, the charismatic Jackson conducted secret political study groups with other inmates, trying to unify the prisoner class.
He was an internationalist.
See, and even in prison, he would try to educate from what people, like what he learned, and the most important part of that, though, is that he took action. And as far as unifying the people, he didn't just sit there and talk about it. Now, this is another part I want to talk about, but hey, you want to say something, bro?
Oh no, go ahead, Forecast. You're doing good. I'm enjoying what you're saying, man. Go ahead.
Okay.
He identified with international communist solidarity.
And one of the projects he took on was that of transforming those who were behind bars, to move away from what he called a criminal mentality to a revolutionary mentality.
And then he had the capabilities of mobilizing everybody. If he said, hey, we're going to do this here, we do this here. And then when they saw this kind of power that could come from one person, naturally they feared that.
On the morning of January 13th, 1970, a new exercise yard was opened at Soledad's notorious O-Wing. The prison grapevine had long predicted that a fight between black and white inmates would occur. Revenge was the motive because of the previous racial killings of blacks.
I would say the majority of people in Soledad knew that when the new exercise yard was open, that there would be a fight out there.
At around 9 a.m., a racially mixed group of inmates began entering the yard. W.L. Nolan, a prison boxing champion and Jackson's closest political ally, was among them.
And we said, well, get on the court, basketball court. Everyone pick your man. When everyone's set, then we'll do it.
The guard in the tower was O.G. Miller, white, 51 years old, known to be an expert with a rifle. Miller's background was similar to that of other guards. Ex-military, from a southern state, known to inmates as a racist.
He was going to shoot somebody black. If it was a fight out there on the yard or somewhere, he wasn't going to shoot his kind. He was going to shoot the other guy.
The fight started when Nolan threw the first punch at a white inmate. Others quickly joined the battle.
But as soon as they started scuffling, shots rang out.
Without warning, Officer Miller fired his weapon at the inmates.
Nolan was the first one shot. He was shot through the chest on the first bullet off of a .30 caliber, very high-powered rifle. He was shot right in the heart.
Straight up murder.
A second.
So you see that's some of the conditions in there. I can't play the whole thing, but y'all can watch it if y'all want to. But
You confess to something? As a discussion.
Himself had become that symbol whom we absolutely had to save.
First time I met him was on the occasion of one of the court appearances in Salinas, California.
Davis was one of 4 children, raised in a loving home by her school teacher parents.
His own life as worth nothing if it could not be used to free his brother.
Summer of 1970, Jonathan Jackson celebrated his 17th birthday. Friends at Jackson's Pasadena High School described him as warm, full of humor.
all right, so I probably skipped it, but I should have wrote it down. But anyway, because I wanted to talk about Angela Davis, because he was like when he started getting revolutionary, what he said was he found like Marxism, all of that Leninism, Leninism or whatever it is,
Yeah.
and they began that ideology, and then you had I don't know how Angela Davis, because she went to the prison to interview them, but I don't know if they was messing with each other or what, But,
Hey, could I interject for a minute, Borges?
Go ahead.
Okay, this is what I wanted to say about George Jackson. Now, okay. Now you see, you know how the media has a way of, of creating an image of black people, black men and women, who are who are activists, who are revolutionaries, whatever, people who fight, brothers and sisters who fighting for the people. Now, they'll harp on the idea that, well, he was nothing but a criminal, you know what I'm saying? He wasn't a political prisoner. He wasn't in prison because of his politics, but he was there because of crime, as if, nobody could change, I mean, we had the example of Malcolm X. Yeah, Malcolm X was in the crime as a young man, and then he went to prison and developed political consciousness, and black consciousness. Okay, now I remember when I was reading about George Jackson, man, the brother was very intelligent, man. He did the same thing that Malcolm did while he was in prison. He went in the library and he read every book that he could. You know what I'm saying? To broaden his political consciousness, his political thoughts. Like I said, Malcolm did the same thing, and I know that when I was a younger brother, when I was in my late teens, I did the same thing. Like in school, I wasn't even interested in school. Once I got the first time I started coming into my black consciousness, I was into that, man, and I would go to the library and I would just read every book that I can, to gain knowledge. So what I'm saying is this brother was not just like, your average. We got this thing about a brother who go to jail, you know what I'm saying, and get woke and then come back out and, for a little while and, you hear him talking about this and that. But sooner or later they go back into doing the same stuff they did. But I'm saying, to me, that brother was very intelligent, man, and I think he was very committed and believed in what he believed in. Now, I'm not saying, I got a whole problem with the socialism thing, but I think that the man was genuine, man, and I mean, no, I had a deep respect for the brother, man, and for his, for his political consciousness, man, and for his views. I just want to clarify that right there, because a lot of people, when they hear like the way they are portraying him in here, like like basically he was just a criminal.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And that's why that's why I wanted to talk about it, because I haven't talked about George Jackson because, like I said, like people use his name the wrong way, the way that they use a lot of stuff, especially like certain groups of people will be like, oh yeah, this person was this, and then they'll link up with like Angela Davis and make it seem, but this brother was like an actual like down for what he was saying, like he died for what he believed in, like he was like dead serious. Now, like you said, I just disagree with that whole thing, but I really disagree with people using his name wrong. But I also want to show this brother love because I haven't talked about him before, so I at least got to show him love, like But because I wanted to show you this because we were speaking about Angela Davis and all of this. Now, like, look, this is Angela Davis today talking about Palestine is a moral litmus test for the world, and the other one I put up, she was saying, "What does it take to be a revolutionary? Fight for everybody," is what she said, and then she got the people of color stuff,
And the present effect of socialism on people of color. You look at the Soviet Union. The Soviet Union has large areas.
So a lot of people use her talking point, but this was a whole nother thing in itself. The whole conversation about socialism and all of that. But you do notice though, right? A lot of them, right? Because people do say that, but that's because most of them do end up with like other white people. And then they have the excuse, well, yeah, you can be pro-black and all of this, but they want to fight with every damn body. But they just ignore the fact that everybody stabs them in the back every time that they try, which makes no damn sense. And then the trick, and first of all, even in America, but at least they say they want to destroy that quote unquote capitalist system, you know what I'm saying? But even in this community, like it's a lot of holes that come with that whole conversation. But it's really the people of color mentality that it comes with, and they think it's something separate. But to even call yourself like Marxist and all of this stuff as a black person is insane, because the dude said he would like off black people. He was like, yo, the people who are the lowest class, we take them out. You know what I'm saying? He didn't like the shysters because he acted like they had some kind of Negro blood in them. You know what I'm saying? Like, which made them not like them, So for like Negroes to do this makes no sense. This whole multicultural, and I'm gonna blame it on Angela Davis, so because I ain't gonna do it on my brother George Jackson, so I'm gonna blame Angela Davis today. But this is her talking about people of color, and then communism. And they still sitting there calling black people some damn communists like it's 1969 or something. But I don't even think most black people know what communist is, But how can you say that in Black liberation? And I think she said,
what's your response to that?
Well,
they said, why you can't be people of color and pro-black at the same time?
It was very clear from the very beginning of the case that I was a communist, because I feel that this is the only way in which we are going to ultimately liberate ourselves as black people. I would not be in the Communist Party if I felt that the interests of the party were in any way opposite to the interests of black liberation.
Mm-hmm. Now she says that she said that then, but even today, like you can explain how some of the philosophies is not in the best interest, and in some cases opposes black liberation. I don't know what that, I guess is to be free of them. I guess, I'm gonna just take the word liberation, but it's a contradiction. But she still will say, well, people of color, I don't give a damn how they treat me. Right is right, wrong is wrong. And I don't even want to get on the conversation of can black people be racist? The answer is hell no. And not even because of the power thing. It's because you ain't got the heart. We don't have the heart to be, Because guess what we're gonna do? We're gonna invite everybody to the cookout. Right is right, wrong is wrong. But anyway, you want to say something about that, bro?
Yeah, man, I'm with you 100%. I mean, like, to me, I like this, in my opinion, in the 60s, in the 60s, early 70s. Okay, a lot of black people, a lot of those people in the so-called Black Power movement, people like Angela Davis. First of all, let's say this up. Angela Davis was not a black revolutionary. No, Angela Davis was a communist revolutionary. That's what she was. She was a communist revolutionary. She was part of the Communist Party USA. They had a little black enclave. I think they called it like the Che Lumumba Club or something. But she was a communist revolutionary, and she was backed by the communists. When she caught that case in the whole the Marriott Court thing, it was the Communist Party, who was who was providing the funds, for her to have a lawyer and to get out of that stuff. But I'm saying, what I was going to say was, a lot of black people, a lot of the so-called black revolutionaries were really communist revolutionaries, and they they masquerade, they put black on it, like what I'm trying to say, forecast. We're gonna put black on it, just like a person is. If you're a Christian, well, you say, well, I'm gonna say Jesus black, and so I'm a black Christian. You know what I'm saying? Jesus black. Well, they put black on communism, black on Marxism, whatever, and masqueraded like this was something that was for us. But I'm like, you, man, how in the hell communism gonna liberate black people? Because one of the first tenets of the communists is like, okay, it's about class and not race. You know what I'm saying? It's about class and not race. So that excludes you right there. You know what I'm saying? Because see, our problem ain't just class. No, I mean, the problem that black people suffer with, struggle from is not just class. It ain't just an economic class. Here ain't none of us got that much money. It's only a few of us. So, I mean, it ain't a class struggle between the two groups. You know what I'm saying? Our struggle is a race struggle. You know what I'm saying? It's a race. We excluded, we discriminated against, we murdered and everything because of us being black people. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you could throw, it's economic reasons behind it. And I'm talking about in the American context right now. You know what I'm saying? And not here in this country. I'm not necessarily speaking like in Africa and other parts of the black world. But I'm saying, pertaining to this struggle right here in this country and the struggle that black people were going through in the 60s, I mean, I think, I don't see how communism was going to do anything for us. Because if the communists came to power, they still was going to come to power as white folks. You know what I'm saying? I mean, black folk, we still a minority in the country, and they still the overwhelming majority, 67, 80%. So, I mean, who going to be the leadership in communism? You know what I'm saying? It's still going to be them. I mean, you get what I'm saying, man?
Yeah, you already know who's going to be the leader. It's going to be the not black person.
Marcus Garvey said that. He said if the communists would have come to power, they'll still rule as white men. You know what I'm saying? And we already seen. We already heard it, like you alluded to, from out of the mouth of the architect of communism, how he felt about black people. And then some of these, like she brought up the Soviet Union and all this stuff. Well, man, look, study the Soviet Union. Study the Soviet Union. Study Soviet Marxism. And in the history of the Soviet Union, after 1917, when it became the first socialist state. Well, you know what? Before it became a socialist state, it was an empire. It was the Russian Empire. Now, you're talking about, it was colonization to the max for them, just like it was for other Europeans. They colonized half of Asia. You know what I'm saying? You go to those places like Kazakhstan and Kyrgyzstan and, and all the stans, Uzbekistans and all those regions in Asia. Those were places that were conquered by the Russians. In the 18th and 19th century. Well, when they overthrew the Tsar and became a communist state, they didn't give liberation to them yellow and brown people over there. You know what I'm saying? I mean, hell, matter of fact, life became worse for them, especially when Stalin came into power. You know what I'm saying? And they suffer from cultural and ethnic, oppression too, under the original communist state. So, man, that whole thing about the communism, and as a liberation force, man, I don't buy that shit, man.
Right. I mean, yeah. I mean, well, first of all, it doesn't make any. It was not even a debatable thing if you were in a system with a bunch of other people where you willing to be at the bottom on top of that. But even I think it has holes in it. Even if you do it in a tribal way, like where it's just you and yours, you know what I'm saying? I still think it got holes in it, but that's at least a debate, But it's like you said, like when you be like, oh, the oppressed people, the poor peoples of the world, the most violent ones against us was like the poor ones, the poor Indians, the poor Arabs, the poor white people, and still to this very day, and even right now you see it formulating like what we was talking about the dude Bowman yesterday, and how and then Mark Lamont Hill talking about some damn Democratic Socialist Party and how he's more worried about what's going on over there, what I'm saying, than over here, even though he got a lot of, in their words, problematic stuff that he says, but even with that, because you see a lot of black people still sitting here, we don't give a damn about like a lot of black people are like kind of turned off. I think for the Democrats, in my opinion, is because of what's going on in Palestine. Not even what happened to them. They like, oh, this genocide Joe, not genocide Joe for like locking you up and killing us for like 50 plus years, but what's been going on right now. And that's the mentality I think that a lot of black people have. And to me, like when people say that stuff, and I don't want to say this to them because I don't want to be like whatever, but it's like weak as hell. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm tired of seeing black men especially say some weak ass stuff all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like, where it doesn't matter what somebody does to you. Or you see like the brother out there dancing with the chick AOC or whatever. That's why he lost now. You know what I'm saying? Like, we care about everybody else, but don't care about ourselves. Like, when are we gonna learn that we have no damn friends? It don't make no sense. But anyway, yo, you want to say something before we go to the next part, bro? We just gonna.
I agree with you. I agree with you, man. Go on to the next part.
All right, we just gonna watch the part about his brother, and then
5 a.m.
and then we're gonna.
Jonathan Jackson walked into your brother.
Jonathan, being a young guy, and decided that he was going to get his brother out of prison by any means he could, and if it meant going there and taking hostages and exchanging hostages for his brother's freedom, he was willing to do that, and that was the plan.
On the morning of August 7th, 1970, at approximately 10:45 a.m., Jonathan Jackson walked into the Marin County courtroom of Judge Harold Haley. Within moments, Jonathan pulled out a pistol, carbine, and a 12-gauge shotgun. He announced that he was taking over, adding, "This is it. Everybody freeze."
I bet y'all ain't know, like, black people had courage back then, like, where black people wasn't playing. Like, they would run up in prison and get somebody out. They ain't getting nobody out today, you know what I'm saying? But this was where a lot of the political prisoners, like, that's still locked up today, this is like the era where they got locked up. But it didn't matter if they was on. But see, like, that's where the other group was smart and they used that, right? This was a strategy against us, right? Because then you had, if you think about it, 1968, like, all right, so all through the 60s, you had black people setting stuff, doing this type of stuff, right? Setting everything on fire, right? So you're like, yo, how can we get them, whatever? Okay, so they, especially knowing that we love everybody, right? So then they passed this Immigration Act, right? So we can then bring in Asians, or whatever other group, you know what I'm saying, at the time, we can bring in these non-white, non-black groups who we see how they sided, right? Because they would go with the money. And they used this whatever love that we got for everybody, that willingness to bite whatever to the cookout. So they understand how, okay, we can give them money to put Asians into your communities to stop, because it was still black businesses at the time in their own communities, or all of these different things. But also the Black Panthers start having the White Panthers and the Asian Panthers. But guess who was the damn snitch? You know what I'm saying? The informant was the damn Asian dude, you know what I'm saying? And all of these situations, like, but they did it because they realized, like, with black men and black women on the same page, there wasn't no gender war. It's before all of that feminist stuff, this was before all of that. They seen images like this where black men with the damn judge like this. They like, yo, how can we stop this? You know, and a part of that is the benign neglect stuff, and because we got to act like we're giving them something so they calm down, so they feel comfortable, you know. And like this is like the beginning of right now, I think, in my opinion. So, you want to say something?
Yeah, I was just going. That was real important what you said, man. Okay, I remember I was watching this. It was a documentary I was watching. Okay, now you know, like in around the time when when the Panther Party, when the Black Panther Party formed around, I think it formed around in 1966. But around, I think it was around like 1968, 69. They had a lot of things, a lot of protests and things going on in the Bay Area, at especially at San Francisco State University. That was like the hotbed of the protest movement and everything. Because then the Panthers being out of the Bay Area too, out of Oakland. Well, they had they had this one particular event where the Panthers was there, and they had it was a coalition of other groups, and one of them, it was called it was an Asian group too, man. It was an Asian group, an Asian leftist group, and I'm trying to remember the name of the group, but I know they had a nickname where they call themselves the Yellow Peril, but they call the overall thing like the third world, like a third world alliance. So it was black people, here in America with Asian people, other people of other non-white people, and they was forming these coalitions. And I'm saying that's where it started at. What you was talking about, that's where it started at. With because the Panthers started off as a thing for black people, for us, to protect the black community, and address the issues in the black community, the police violence, and white terror, terrorism from white gangs and stuff like that in the Oakland area. What I'm saying, but as soon as they got with that, hey, it's black people struggle and the struggle of other people of color and Chicanos and Puerto Ricans and Asians and all of that, that's where it started going left right there. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, because see, that was the beginning of multiculturalism. And as you were saying, how white folks started letting these other yellow and red and brown people in, you know what I'm saying? So they struggle was put on the front side, and our shit was put on the back side as black people. You know what I'm saying? And like, when it first started, it was like us, supporting the struggle. Hey, it's black and brown and yellow and red people and people of color, black people and people of color. But gradually, white folks, they made their struggle, the people of color, those yellow people and red people and brown people, and then it's extended to white women and to the LGBT community and all that. They put everybody else shit on the front side, and our shit got pushed to the back side. Because guess what? We embraced it and supported it.
Right. But look, that's the thing, right? See, because they would be like white supremacy, right? But white supremacy is defined by black inferiority, right? So the whole time the plan was never, that was the whole idea. How can we get these Negroes to stop shooting stuff and burning stuff and beating white people up if they come through their neighborhood? Because it didn't matter if it was the police. It didn't matter if you was a white bitch jogging. If you in the wrong neighborhood, you get your ass whooped and you get the hell up out of there. You know what I'm saying? And what they had to figure out a way to where they could still benefit, but get you comfortable enough to where you can do all of these things. And then that's when they start hitting you with it's not about race and as a class issue, and race is a social construct. But in reality, right, it's a competition between groups of people, right? Even if you talk about your tribe or your race, which is different types of people, you know what I'm saying? I call it different species of humans, you know what I'm saying? But just like a pit bull and a chihuahua is different, you know what I'm saying? If that's what you want to say. But the whole thing about it is like, it's competition for resources between your group of people. And then when you start saying it's not class, which don't make no damn sense, because Like you could be a quote unquote billionaire. They'd be like, oh yeah, we're taking your money tomorrow. Or you could be like, oh, I'm not working my hours tonight. Go tell a damn football player to wear a "Don't Shoot Me" shirt on. You know what I'm saying? He can't do that, because he don't want to lose that check. That's why a lot of people is selling out, because they don't want to lose that check. And this was where that individual stuff started coming in at, you know what I'm saying? Because it was like a different kind of market. Like, well, I get mine, I gotta get, and you gotta understand this was integration, like, because even though like the Brown versus Board was in the 50s, they didn't integrate schools until like here it was 1970 was when schools was officially integrated, even though it's not really. It just means they got our money, but we also got their curriculums. So right now is the beginning of white teachers, you know what I'm saying? It's the divide of, like they said, the breakup of the Black family, but it's really the breakup of Black unity itself, you know what I'm saying? Because Black people was willing to do this, to show up at courthouses with guns. So how, like, they was the target on these COINTELPRO things, and they still running. I'm pretty sure they got updated stuff, but they don't need to use it right now, right? So like all of these groups was automatic. Any self-defense group was automatically labeled and targeted by the COINTELPRO, and what they would do is use other Black men to come in your thing, but they will also know that it would be easy to just send a white dude and you let him in the thing. You know how many people had who was like agents who was their security guards, you know what I'm saying? Like, but how even Malcolm, like the dude who gave him CPR was a damn agent, you know what I'm saying? Because that's just how it worked. But that's just how they were able to do all of this stuff, you know what I'm saying? Because there was a time where Black people was not on this type of stuff, you know. But yo, what's going on, Bakari? All right, let me hurry up.
Were given to inmates James McLean, William Christmas, and Rochelle McGee. As Judge Haley, Assistant District Attorney Gary Thomas, and 3 housewives who were serving as jurors were taken hostage, the gunman also stated, "We are the revolutionaries. The Soledad brothers must be freed." Taped under the neck of the 65-year-old judge was a shotgun.
As they got out here, then this other bushy-haired, light-haired one came out. He had the automatic weapon. And he came out, and about this time, the one that had the gun on Judge Haley turned around and saw me. And he says, "Kill that mother." He says, "Kill him, kill him, kill him."
Jonathan and his fellow gunmen led the hostages to a van in the parking lot of the Civic Center.
By that time, the van was surrounded by various law enforcement people, including guards from San Quentin who just happened to.
So yeah, they supposed to had a no fire thing, but they opened fire and then they killed they killed everybody, but like one white person, but they killed all the hostages, you know. But even like they were saying, even when they was like it was about class and all, you know, that a lot of stuff was being funded by Black people who did have money, right? They may have been on the low, right? But what do you think they was getting a lot of weapons or the stuff that they needed? Or like somebody like, even this is before then, but like Ida B. Wells didn't have a job because her job was going around to make sure that Black people got justice or whatever, and people took care of her. That was the Black people with money, because they understood it didn't matter if it had money or they didn't have money, right? And so a lot of these groups and self-defense groups, they were able to arm themselves and get a lot of guns, you know what I'm saying? A lot of guns to arm army, you know, and because they had people with money that would give them stuff. So like even that part of trying to make it like about class and all of this nonsense is like every part of that is detrimental to us, you know. But you want to say something, bro?
Oh yeah, look, I agree with you 100%, man. You know, it's a false narrative, you know, that Black people, that we as Black people, that we didn't fight back. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, man, we always fought back. We always fought back. When you think of all of those times that white people, you know, invaded our communities, you know, with all that mob, with all of the bullshit that they did, we fought back then. No, we always fought back. No, I mean, it was never a time that we didn't fight back and stand up for ourselves. You know, I mean, it's just, you know, we had an overwhelming force against us, but we always fought back. You know, I'm saying we got to get rid of that narrative more. But why we didn't fight back? No, we always fought back, man, and we always stood up for ourselves. Man. Yeah, that's what I just wanted to.
No, yeah, that's a fact, and this is the thing. Like now, I know because it's important that we talk about that, and that's why I like most of. If you look at Black history, most of it is fighting back. You know what I'm saying? And you won a lot of times. Like you won more times than you think. Like that's why they had. See, this is why it's important because we got to also understand how did they get us to stop fighting back. You know what I'm saying? Like. What did they in particular do? Because like I said, I think that this is the era. This is the part right here. Like this is 1970, 1971. And by the next few years, you didn't see a lot of like Black people armed and running up in places. You will see every now and then with a random brother, like shouts out to the brother, Michael Johnson, you know what I'm saying? Xavier Johnson. You'll see that every now and then, but
yeah, before check this out. Could I say something real quick?
Go ahead, my brother.
Oh, now think about 1970. Let's go around to 1970. Remember 70, I say between 70, like 70, 72. You know, this was like probably about the height, you know, I mean, even into like 73, 74. But this was like the height of Black consciousness. You know what I'm saying? The height of Black unity and Black consciousness, and us together, us, you know, fighting like what you're talking about. You know, what we was like, we fought more as a people. You know what I'm saying? This was the height. This was the height of it. Okay. Now, I'm not saying this was the only thing that happened, but what happened? They started, you know, all of the revolutionary figures that we had. You know, brothers like, you know, Brother Malcolm, you know, and Brother Stokely Carmichael, you know, and then Stokely Carmichael, you know, period. You know, and other brothers, you know, H. Rap Brown.
Carmichael Bukhari.
Yeah, H. Rap Brown. You know what I'm saying? A lot of brothers like that. You know, what happened? You know, or the first thing they did, the first thing COINTELPRO did, and what they did effectively, say, "Oh, we got to kill them. No, we got to run them into exile or whatever, and get those guys and replace them leaders with your Reverend Jesse Jacksons." You know what I'm saying? With some people like that who came out and got you in another way of thinking. You know, they said smooth stuff like, you know, some of the things that Jesse Jackson said, but it was like to get you to buy into a system and not just buy into Americanism. You know what I'm saying? They might put a Black thing, you know, I am somebody, all the slogans and things that he said. But what happened was they was getting you to think, to change your mind and get you to think as an individual. And, you know, forget all that Black stuff, man, you know, and all that unity stuff. And you even seen it in the movies. You know, they had movies like in the early 70s. A lot of people underestimate the power of those movies, like everything is political. Now, when they came out with this genre called the Black exploitation film. You know what I'm saying? Have you seen super Negroes like Jim Brown and, you know, and Fred the Hammer and these other cats, man, you know what I'm saying? You know, becoming big stars and living, you know, a luxuriant life, you know, living a life that a lot of people wish they had. You know what I mean? They was pushing that real strong. You know, I mean, they was pushing that individual thing. You know what I'm saying? Go out there and get your money. Hey, don't worry about nobody else or the next man. Don't worry about the rest of the community. Worry about your damn self. You know what I'm saying? You go out here and make it for you. You know that I got mine, you go get yours. That kind of thing. That's what they was always pushing, you know, through film and through media. You know, in the early 70s, all of that diluted that black unity, that Black power that we was trying to get to. You know what I'm saying? What you were saying, what happened, why we stopped fighting. You know what I'm saying? And you know, and then and they changed the tactics. They made it from it changed from Black to the feminist movement and the gay movement and all this other stuff. And like Dr. Wright said, we was left running around. Where do they fight at? You know what I'm saying? They sold you individualism. I mean, so it was a lot of things. It wasn't just one particular thing, but it was a lot of things that they throwed at us to kill the momentum of the movement. You know what I'm saying? I just want to throw that in right there.
No, yeah, that's right. You know, that's a fact. You know, and that was the goal to stop Black unity, right? First, you introduce gender war stuff, right? It's already had issues with like, you know, it's already a thing that comes with just being in the system that we in, right? Where we don't want to say like, oh, like we feel ashamed or whatever, because like it's just something to be ashamed of, you know, we lost or whatever, you know, until we win again, you know. But at the same time, right, they introduce like the gender stuff, like, and then like feminism is right after that, and then you start seeing the class stuff come back, you know, because Black people, we talked about class, and like we would be like class within Black people, though, you know what I'm saying? It was always, I'm a race person, like you didn't have to be like I'm Black first, I'm a race woman, you know what I'm saying? Or you're not, you know what I'm saying? Let's just say. Right, but then you still had the people fighting between integration and not integration, right? And what people don't, they do talk about Martin Luther King all the time now, but what they don't tell you is like how a growing population was like, man, especially the youth of that time was like, I'm sick of this non-violent stuff. If somebody touched me, I'm smacking them. If they try to shoot me, I'm gonna kill all of them. And they wasn't playing; they was doing it, you know. And then after all of this stuff, like you get the ageism, the arguments, and all of that stuff, and then they hit you with the crack epidemic after that, like, you know. But that's a whole nother conversation we're gonna have later, I'm sure. But I'm gonna play the last part of this.
I can't make much sense of it, though.
Very, very isolated, restricted worldview, maybe even delusional, one might say.
Jackson's relationship with Faye Stender also came to an end.
Hey, listen, the white back, the liberals, right? Because he was on some Black stuff. Because even with the political stuff today, it kills me because, man, I don't want to say her name, but like, this lady, I was like, I heard a little bit, even though I already knew. I'm like, you saying the same damn talking points as everybody else. It kind of exposes them, right? It's because you have to stay on the script as a Black person if you want to get paid or if you want to get backing or whatever. You have to stay on a script. This brother didn't stay on no damn script. But the liberal John Brown himself, right? If you get off John Brown's script, Negro, all right, and this is what, you know, they like, well, this is not what I'm saying. I'm talking about equality for everyone. We're not starting over now. We're not going to give up what we got or anything like that. I just don't believe in a police should. Oh, anyway.
They clashed over the distribution of proceeds from his book.
George Jackson said
his book, the money from his book, listen to where he wanted it to go, but listen to what I'm assuming is this white bitch wanted it to go.
Clashed over the distribution of proceeds from his book.
George Jackson said, no, I want to build a revolutionary movement. I'm getting out of here. And I want my money to go towards my friend James Carr, who was a prisoner who had been released, who was organizing and building a little army on the outside. And that's how they parted ways.
Gregory Armstrong.
So, you know, they can't have no damn army of Negroes out here.
But you said something's going on. Yeah, I figured something was happening.
All right, so this is the revolution the brother set off. You want to say something because I got to play the last part before we get out of here. You want to say something about that?
Go ahead on. I'll wait for a minute.
All right. I'm going to let him play for
A last-minute phone call, however, changed his schedule. A Black Panther wanted Bingham to assist a legal investigator, Vanita Anderson, in her visit with Jackson. Bingham was reluctant, but agreed.
She didn't know me from Adam. I mean, neither of us had met each other before.
After arriving at San Quentin at around 10 a.m., Bingham and Anderson had their personal belongings inspected by prison guards. But their visit with Jackson was denied by a lieutenant in charge. Bingham protested. At around 1 p.m., Warden Park returned from San Rafael. Park approved the visit.
All right, let me
Pull it out
go
of your
ahead a
attaché
little bit.
case. No. Do you ever transfer a gun to George Jackson?
No.
George Jackson was taken from the visiting area by Officer Frank DeLeon. DeLeon was 44 years old, stocky, and the married father of 5 children. When he arrived at the door of the adjustment center with Jackson, Sergeant Kenneth McCrae allowed both men inside.
Yeah, what's up with this
McCrae
fool
was 39
here? What's going on with this dude?
years old, married, and had 3 children. Bard Urbano Rubiaco was nearby. Rubiaco was 25 years old and had previously worked at Soledad's O-Wing. According to Rubiaco, as he came face to face with Jackson, he noticed a shiny object in the inmate's hair.
And he says, you know, what's that in your hair, Jackson? And Jackson says, nothing. And the guard reaches up and he touches it, and there's resistance. It feels like metal or something.
McCrae looked up, saw something similar, and ordered Jackson to produce it.
A bullet clip falls to the floor, clatters to the floor. And they look at it and they're, what is that? I mean, how could this possibly be? And in the next instant, George Jackson reaches into his hair, pulls out the gun. He has another bullet clip in his hand. He slams the clip into the butt of the 9mm. He points it at the guards and he says, the dragon has come. And that begins what would become a bloodbath.
So you already know the dragon has come. When y'all get the text on your phone, the dragon has come. Just come outside, y'all.
Coming up on day,
like little quick kicks, and
just by chance,
on top of McCrae. As Alan Mancino searched for a safe place, inmate Ronald King.
I just want to ask you one question, man. How do you hide a 9mm in your afro?
That's a good question, my brother. That's a great question. His hair was nappy that day, I guess.
Man, I had a 9mm before, man. How you had it in your afro, man?
With the extra clip that fell out.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead, man.
Oh no, he said it fell on the floor. He reached out of his hair. I guess he picked it up after he pulled the gun out of his hair, and then loaded it, jammed it in, and then shot him.
Hey, Borges, you mean 2 prison guards let him do that?
I mean, they are Neanderthal. Maybe they have slow reaction time. That's why they don't play sports now, I guess.
They sound right to be, man.
Kane questioned what to do.
I said, you better get you something to work with. I said, because we're next. You know, and I was talking to him. I was scared, but I knew what was going to happen. They tied him up and they cut his throat. They came to me and said, you want to be tied up too? I said, no, I'm not getting tied up.
Inmate John Lynn suffered the same fate as Ronald Kane.
They're murdered. George gives the order, you know, these guys got to go. They saw too much. They're not one of us. You know?
There you go. He said, not one of us. There y'all go right there. What you say, George Jackson? He's not one of us. He's not like us, y'all.
They're murdered. George gives the order, you know, these guys got to go. They saw too much. They're not one of us. You know, and so these guys become victims just by chance.
Quote unquote victim.
You hear a lot of moaning, a lot of crying, a lot of begging, a lot of shut up, and you know, like thuds. And it was pretty bad, man. I was just waiting on it to come to me.
Damn, they must have. I don't know what happened. Hold on.
Was seized by inmates. Clouchet was uncertain as to what was happening. He moved to a cell on the other side of the AC, and sometime later saw George Jackson.
He was like he was in a daze. I had never seen him like that. He was just kind of just walking back and forth. He wasn't saying anything.
He started. They say he was another brother who started it, or he was like a part of a gang leader. Not, they call it a gang, but his organization or something like that. I forgot what he did.
And saw George Jackson staring at him.
At that point, Jackson fires the gun, and that alerts everybody.
All right, because it's only a bad part after this. So you want to say something before we get to the conclusion of this? But because you were just saying like, so apparently it's suspicious to you about having a gun tucked in your afro.
I mean,
Soul, what was the movie Soul Brother or whatever, the joint with Eddie Griffin?
Yeah, hey man. Hey, I'm just answering the question, man. I'm just asking you your opinion. How you had a 9mm afro? That's all I was saying.
No, break it down, bro. Break it down.
I don't know. I don't know, man. Ain't no use to me breaking it down if I don't know what happened, man.
Yeah, right. I feel you.
Yeah.
I mean you wanted to say something about that part?
Oh no. Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
All right, so you see the brother started, and you notice that most of them is telling it's the former security guards who said something.
The floor of the AC was covered in blood. Johnny Spain was desperate to
See, that's the exact thing what I'm saying. I mean, I don't want to talk about what I don't know about, but what I'm saying is the only story we got is from the hunkies. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's the only narrative we got about that incident. It's from them. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm like, damn, what really happened? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, that's true.
Go ahead on, man.
All right.
to leave what he called the chaos.
It was at that point I was trying to get the keys. It's like, okay, it's time to get this door open and for me to get out of here. That's what it's time for.
George Jackson joined Spain near the entrance of the AC.
I think the thing I remember most is George, I wanted to know if he was all right. Are you all right? And he said, yeah, comrade, I'm fine. I got it.
Both have a small bottle of what they believe.
Hell no. He was doing 10 years for goddamn petty theft. No, he ain't all right. And his brother is the only one who was thinking logically and knew he wasn't all right. And when asked, because I missed that part too, because when asked about his brother, his death during that part, he said, he was like, man, I love my brother more than I love myself, and I wish people would have calmed him down. But when it comes down to it, he was like, when it comes down to the revolution, he was like, I would give my brother just as fast as I would give myself to the revolution. You know what I'm saying? So if, that's the kind of brother he and I apparently, that's what he said himself,
Were explosives.
He's got the gun in his hand, and he announces to his comrades, "It's me they want. It's me they want." So he bursts out the door with the gun in his hand and starts running across the yard towards one of the walls.
As Jackson and Spain ran out of the adjustment center, shots were fired in their direction. Jackson was struck in the ankle.
And he stumbled and tried to did continue. And then I didn't actually see him get hit with the second shot at the moment of impact. I did see him as he stumbled forward after being shot the second time. And when he stumbled forward, he was dead.
They're coming.
I don't know. You know what I mean? I just, like I say, because that day when I looked at him and looked at his face, he just looked like somebody I didn't know anymore. And he just looked like, what the hell or something. I don't know.
There's a general lockup throughout the institution. Prisoners have been fed in their cells. Tomorrow there will be no visitors at San Quentin. The institution is described as quiet but tense. The 6 people killed in this riot make it the worst incident of this kind in the modern history of San Quentin Prison.
Most agree the incident was over in less than 30 minutes.
I most agree. All right, you want to say something, bro?
Nah, man. I was just checking it out, man. I don't know what you think about it, man.
I mean, yeah, I mean, shouts out to you know, George Jackson, because
100%.
right,
I mean, you know, this is what for me, 4Ks, I think it ain't because I mean, to me, I think we don't. Not me. I'm not talking about you, but I'm just talking about people in general. You know, in general, because I know a lot of other. They got, man. Don't you know right now? They got groups. They got a group, it's a Black Revolutionary group called the George Jackson Collective. You know, and as a matter of fact, the brother who's behind that, I first encountered him on IG, and he used to have lives on IG. And he used to do live shows, you know, with the George Jackson Collective. And pretty sure, bro, intelligent brother, man. You know, I used to listen to them. You know, they come from that, you know, that socialist paradigm, you know. But yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people. I see a lot of people because I see a lot of people really like co-opting his name a lot, man. You know, like, you know, some of them cats on show, like, you know, Jerry Ball and them show. You know what I mean? They do a George Jackson show every August, what is it, August 17 or something like that, what they call it Black August. I see a lot of them co-opting, you know, the man's name, man, and co-opting what the man stands for, but not really talking about some of the things that he did, you know, like the organization he built, you know. Some people call it the Black Guerrilla Family, but I know George Jackson, even though he did buy into, you know, he bought into that Marxist Leninist, you know, that socialist kind of ideology to an extent. He bought into that. You know, he was into it, but he also had this strong African connection too. You know, he always he referred to himself as an African, and he encouraged like the embracing of, you know, us learning African language, like Kiswahili, for example, in African culture. You know, they use a lot of words, you know, in the organization to talk about different things. Like he called the organization, another name that the organization was called was Jama. You know, a lot of people don't know that. You know, they just know it as the Black Guerrilla Family. You know what I'm saying? But they actually at that time that they called it Jama. You know, he had what he called his political economic philosophy. They call it Jama economics. I don't know how you say that. Jama economics, like that. You know, he had they got a little book called a Black Book, man. I used to have that book. I told you I had that book and blood in my eye, but I done lost it. I don't have it now. But he was running down like the economic political philosophy and everything. But like, you know, a lot of people, like I say, I hear him piggybacking on his name, you know, and like co-opting his image and his name and everything, but not really talking much about, you know, some of the things he did and what he believed in, you know, outside of, you know, socialism. Just saying, you know, they're just show excerpts of him talking about, you know, anti-capitalism, you know, talk about capitalism and talking about, you know, imperialism and stuff like that. But, you know, he was talking about a lot of things about us, about the Black community, about what we need to do, you know, things that he wanted to do for us. You know, and I think they, you know, too many of these socialist people, like somebody, not all, you know, they just want to connect him with the socialist paradigm. You know what I'm saying? That's all I was talking about, man.
Well, no, yeah, I agree. And by the way, since you reminded me, I forgot to tell Blanca, if Blanca's still there, the movie is called Blood Didn't Sign My Name. That's the movie I was showing last time with the brother Henry Monroe. You said something about blood, and it kind of reminded me. It's called Blood Didn't Sign My Name. But yeah, man, you're absolutely right. You know, people use, just like they always do, it's like revisionist history. They leave out all of the context. One thing I agree with because the thing about this brother is he wanted to actually not just change the system or fix the system. He wanted to destroy it, all of it. You know what I'm saying? And that's one thing I agree about. I disagree with how they feel it could be done, but I agree with this brother who had the courage to stand on his right. And like you said, right, because he recognized his blackness, and they do to an extent because they know that they cannot, and but they also use it as a talking point in a weird kind of way, you know. And so this brother legacy should not be like tainted or like used in a disrespectful way. And this is like one of the reasons why I never really talked about the brother, you know what I'm saying? Because a lot of stuff that, because, you know, like they said, they will use his quotes and, you know, him getting to the Marxist and Lenin. But one thing that people leave out the equation that every time I have these conversations, is more so me, because people like, oh, you'll be giving passes. And it's not that I'm giving passes or not, right? One thing that we have is like another 60 years of hindsight, right? So we have experience that they don't have, and then it's time for you to update your information. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe they didn't have as many contacts with like the immigrants, so maybe they did think that they was their friends, even though I can't really give a pass out the 1800s. I'm sorry, because we got stabbed in the back like 15 times before that, you know. But also we have more access to information than they did, so it's not a judgment thing anytime that I say that. The problem is today is still this mentality and how it's used. And even like with the sister Angela Davis, you know, there's a respect to her, I guess, you know, but I vehemently disagree, and if anything is problematic, it's her and mentality, you know what I'm saying? When you say, oh, well, it doesn't matter what everybody do to you, you just got to save everybody, save democracy. That's stupid as hell. How stupid can we be? You know what I'm saying? And it's all done on purpose. And maybe they are running experiments to see how stupid we actually get, you know. But like I said, man, you see, like even then till now, the difference. And I would be down with this brother, even though he's a socialist, because his thing is to destroy it. Now I'll be like, listen, brother, they ain't your friends, you know what I'm saying? I'll be telling them every single day. We probably argue and debate every day about it. But this brother is dead serious, you know what I'm saying? So it's like no disrespect when we talk about this brother or use his name and everything that he did, you know what I'm saying? So you want to say something, my brother? Hold on, let me see if there's anything at the end.
At prison, the trail of 18 years. Brooks was later stabbed to death at full.
See, they saying more negative stuff. I ain't trying to. But you want to say something, my brother?
No, man, I think you hit it on the head, man. You know, you hit it on the head, man. I agree with you, man. You you know, hey man, this was a good program, man. You know, I mean, I'm glad.
Hold on. I think I got one more part. Hold on, let me see. Because they like,
but no, there was not this reign of terror.
San Francisco's tactical Shea and fleeted Drumgo became bitter and erupted into a bloody fight. As bailiffs tried to remove Clouchet's mother for creating a disturbance, a scuffle broke out when two black men interceded on her behalf. Members of San Francisco's tactical squad rushed into the courtroom to restore order.
The authorities cleared the courtroom, called an hour's recess, and began reinforcing security. And this is
in San Mateo, Sacramento, and San Francisco's Ferry Building, which housed satellite offices of the California prison system. No one was injured. A member of the terrorist group.
And that was on purpose that no one was injured. Maybe we should rethink that too.
Morning of August 28th.
Sorry.
A member of the terrorist group, the Weathermen, claimed responsibility for one of the explosions. A note sent to a local newspaper called the bombings an outraged response to the assassination of George Jackson.
Now, the Weathermen is another black militant group, you know what I'm saying, that was back then.
4K. I'm sorry, man. I had the Weathermen with some white boys.
Yeah, that's what I said. Not necessarily black. Yeah, they was supposed to be a militant group. Yeah, like you're right about that. Yeah, they had did all of this stuff and like had claimed responsibility, you know what I'm saying? And then so yeah, I was like, yeah, you're right.
The 28th was also the day of Jackson's funeral.
As they was trying to say, it was like you know, part of the whole thing. But yeah, man. So yeah, that's all I play, man. Yeah, man. So yeah, I appreciate it. Oh yeah, Blanca's still there. Yeah, that's the movie. Well, yeah, man.
Pizza Blanca, man. Pizza Blanca, man. Yeah, yeah, man. This
Yeah,
is great.
man.
Hey, man, this is. Hey, man, congrats. You did a good job, man.
No, shit, yeah, you too, bro. Like we did, bro. Like,
Yeah, you know, it was a good. We had a good time, man.
but
I
yeah,
think.
because
Go ahead.
no, no, yeah, because I think it's important that we actually put context with even when we talk about the brothers in the past and stuff like that, and show them
Yeah.
the respect that they deserve. And I know a lot of people don't know about this brother at all, so I ain't want to just talk about him just to talk about it or to make it whatever because it's a deep thing. So shouts out to the brother George Jackson. Well, go ahead, my bad.
Yeah, that's my thing. I'm like, you know, a lot because like I talk to other brothers, man, and sisters. We be discussing things. We be having our little study groups every now and then, and like we talk about, a lot. We talk about ideology and all kind of things. Just basically just shooting the breeze. You know what I'm saying? But that's like I always say, we don't need to let other people's narratives, define our freedom fighters. You know what I'm saying? Because like they always the image of him of not only just George Jackson, but like like brothers in the Black Panther Party and other revolutionaries. They always try to categorize them as criminals and stuff. You know what I'm saying? And say, well, he was, they wasn't political prisoners. They was prisoners because they did this and that. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of us buy into it, man. Like I remember it was this show used to come on called it was Tony Brown's Journal. It was Tony Brown. You ever heard of it, Tony Brown's Journal?
Yeah, I know you're talking about.
Yeah, well, I mean, it started back in the late '60s. It was Black Journal, and eventually he became the host. He renamed it Tony Brown's Journal. Well, they had this discussion about Malcolm X and Martin Luther King. You know how they always were, trying to get us to choose sides. Who were you for? Brother Malcolm or Dr. King? And this one guy was on there, and he was just saying like, Dr. King went to jail for fighting for civil rights. Malcolm went to jail for criminal activity. You know what I'm saying? I mean, this is a brother saying this. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, too many times, we allow that kind of narrative. He bought the narrative. And many times we buy the narrative. Well, yeah, that dude there, he was a criminal. So like Brother George, and just throwing away the fact that this man, raised his consciousness. You know what I'm saying? That this man was fighting for us. And he had 100% love for his people, for Black people. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they do the same thing with Huey P. Newton. Now I don't, man, I don't give a, I don't agree with socialism, in whatever they want to call it. But Huey P. Newton was a very intelligent man, and and the man had a PhD. Now I'm not getting into like education, honors and stuff like that. But the man was Dr. Huey P. Newton. You know what I'm saying? But see, the media, they would like to characterize him as, oh, he was just an old gun-toting thug and everything, out there, fighting it out with the police and everything. The man was a college professor. The man was very educated. You know what I'm saying? But they always try to belittle, the people who fought for us. That's what I'm saying. They try to make him look like a small person or something. He was just a thug, Or they say like they did against the brother Michael Xavier Johnson, saying somebody, well, he was just this guy who had mental problems and everything. Yeah, he had mental problems because he was fighting for his people, because he had love for his people. You know what I'm saying? He had the Dylan Roof syndrome. You know what I'm saying? He had mental problems. And my point is though, they always try to minimalize, and demean people who stand up for us. You know what I'm saying? And I just think that we need to quit buying into the narrative. You know what I'm saying? And going along with them. You got people, man. I remember like his family was apologizing for what he did. Michael Xavier Johnson. You know what I'm saying? His parents, they was apologizing. We sorry for him doing that. Man, the hell with them damn police. You know what I'm saying? You got even right now. I remember when Nat Turner's his descendants. No, Nat Turner, they had a meeting with some of Nat Turner's descendants and some of the crackers that he killed. Some of their descendants. No, they had a little old powwow meeting together and everything. And I seen the brother apologizing for that, for the things that Nat Turner did, like in killing the babies and stuff like that. Hell, what the hell they did to our babies? You know what I'm saying? So we gotta. I'm saying we gotta. I know I'm a little long-winded, but I'm just saying we gotta stop buying into narratives that they put out there. Just because they put out there and say Nat Turner was crazy, or Michael Xavier Johnson was crazy, or Gavin Long was crazy. No, man, we don't need to buy that bullshit, man. Fuck that. No, they weren't crazy. They weren't crazy. We was crazy for not supporting them. You know what I'm saying? We should have supported them a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they would have been successful in doing what they were doing. But no, man, that's all I'm saying, man. Let's support our heroes and sheroes, our freedom fighters. And let's don't buy the narrative that the white media try to put on them. You know what I'm saying? And criminalizing them, and demeaning them. That's all I'm saying, man.
Yeah, I agree. Maybe we can learn and to be able to support the next time, the next one that comes up. You know what I'm saying? We support that brother or sister that stands up. You know what I'm saying, and does it. But yeah, shouts out to Blanca. Blanca said, "I've learned a lot of history I've never known about. So thanks, brothers, and thanks for putting me on to Matron. And yeah, y'all subscribe to Matron channel. She doing an excellent reading of the brother E. Franklin Frazier, who is what you call a psychologist? Not psychologist, but
yeah, they call him a psychologist.
Yeah. So he studied the mind or whatever, but he was still recognized he was a brother, even though he was in the Boule himself. So he recognized the same thing that we all recognize, But at the end of the day, until we learn that it's a competition, and there can only be one, it can only be one winner. You know what I'm saying? And heavy is the crown on the head of the king. Heavy is the crown, but it's even heavier when the fool's standing on top of you and he got the crown on his head. So I'd rather be just the one with the crown on. You know what I'm saying? And shouts out to my brother MD too. Shouts out to Blanca for coming through. I appreciate it. My brother Bakari, Jermaine, appreciate you. Definitely shouts out to Matron. Y'all subscribe to her. Y'all shouts out to Raw. I've been meaning to hit you up, Raw. I'm gonna hit you up in a minute. Yeah, definitely. Y'all subscribe to Matron channel. Shouts out to Raw. Shouts out to Sublime Prince. Of course, shouts out to Koku, who was in the building. And of course,
yeah, shout out to Koku.
Oh yeah, that's why I hope I said that at the beginning, but shouts out to Cathedral. We may or may not be back on Wednesday. So if I don't come on here on Wednesday, don't be surprised because I gotta handle business or whatever. So we may or may not be on here Wednesday at 8:30. So if you don't see it, then you already know why, And I probably should have said that at the beginning, but I just wanted to let y'all know that. But shouts out to Cassandra Rum in the Bush. Y'all definitely show her love and support. She said Blanca needs some good recommendations. Yeah. But yeah, so yeah, y'all definitely can do that. And by the way, my email, a person asked me that and I forgot to hit him back. My email is in the chat or in the description or whatever you call it. And I'll put it in the chat if you want, but it's in the description on the thing. If you want to holler at me, you could do that. Well, yeah, and definitely shouts out to you, my brother Anthony. I appreciate you for coming through, my brother.
Yeah, man. At any time, man. Anytime you need me, I'll be around, man.
Yeah, definitely appreciate it. Y'all already know, y'all know me. These gonna be my last words.
Or is it another game to be run on black folks' minds? Is it another fantasy that we'll trip on for the next 30 30 years while people exploit us and use us. This is another fantasy that will have us wake up one day and have all of the other ethnic groups in this country look at us as the enemy and ultimately decide to destroy us as a people. While we were caught up in our assimilationist fantasies, we've seen every other ethnic group come now to achieve the identity as a minority in America. And those programs that we struggled so hard for and fought so hard for to advance our interests as a people, now we got to share with every other group that decides to give itself a name. All of a sudden, white women became minorities. You see. All of a sudden, immigrants became minorities. Yes, I'm going to say it. Some of you don't want to deal with it, but you got to deal with it. It's real. It's real.
It's real.
Every evening, it serves.
All right. My bad. And I meant to play the part where he said, multiculturalism, what are you going to do with it? But what has it gotten you? But yeah, shouts out to that, brother. Shouts out to all of y'all. And as always, man, we have got to start standing for something, or we're going to keep falling for anything.